Hey everyone, Daniel Ramsey here with MyOutDesk, and today I have the unique pleasure to talk with Robert Massie from Brightstar Cares. Now, I'm really excited because this guy is actually serving his community by providing really high quality care professionals that come to your home and actually, help with your healthcare needs. So super excited because this guy is actually got a big heart and he's giving back. And what I love most is he's using one of our virtual assistants. Actually, I think there's a couple. Oh no, you've got one. We're gonna have to get you more, Robert. We're gonna have to get you more, folks. But hey, thanks for being here today. I really appreciate you.
Well, thanks, Daniel. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm a little crazy with these interviews, but you said something that makes me interested. 25% growth. My understanding is that you have more than 100 employees working for your organization, and 25% growth is a big deal. How have you done that? Like, what do you think your secret sauce has been? What do you think you've done differently in the Brightstar Care world that has allowed you to grow so rapidly?
Well, we've got 10,000 seniors a day turning 65 in this country. So the market is expanding very quickly. So the opportunity is there. Rising tide lifts all boats. This area has a very high percentage of two-income households. And so helping with your mother or your father in the home is not something that many of the families can manage. Their time is very limited. They're raising their own families. So there's a high degree of need, a high demand for good quality caregiving. On the other hand, the labor shortage is extremely pronounced here. We're down to about 3% unemployment at the current time, and in the healthcare field, it's even worse. And there's a high competition for good caregivers, trained caregivers. The labor costs are very high. So we've been labor constrained, not demand constrained. We would love to service every single family that comes to us, but we can only do that if we get the best caregivers. And we pay a lot for those caregivers. The investment to get a good caregiver onto the team and working productively is very high.
Well, how have you done that? I mean, sounds like you've worked in the outsourced world, so you probably understood what needed to happen in order to make that right. But what do you think you've done that has gotten Mark? I mean, obviously you selected correctly. He had the right background and the right criteria, but there's got to be something about how you've worked with him and also your other internal staff to make this a more positive thing. I mean, what I heard is the biggest challenge that you have is recruiting, and you've empowered your virtual assistant, Mark, to do that for your company. So let's talk about how you've made that successful.
Yeah, so I had never really done this before. I've been part of a company that did it, but so we learned as we went. But one thing we learned in the very beginning was that you've got to bring them up as if you would any other employee who is part of the team and in the office. So he went through all of the same training that all of our other staff has gone through. He attends all of the same meetings that our other staff attends. We spent a lot of time getting him connected. So, for example, he has an extension on our phone system. If you call my office and you dial 209, you're going to get Mark, right? Now, he's working halfway around the world, but he's there answering the phone. He answers the phone the same way we do. He operates on the same computer system that we do. He has all the same screens and access. He manages all the same tools. So he is in the office in the sense that he's got everything that anyone else here has. He just doesn't get in a car and drive to this particular building every day.
I love that, Robert. I love that. What advice would you give to other healthcare company providers like yourself considering hiring a virtual assistant and doing this outsourced work? What advice would you give them?
Well, so I think that you have to take a little bit of a leap of faith and recognize that time and space do not have the same kinds of meanings and limitations that it used to have. Technology has enabled us to minimize the impact of time and space. So any function that can be done remotely, where physical presence really isn't required. And if you think about a business, the administrative functions of a business, almost all of them fit that to some degree. Then it's a candidate for outsourcing. And then it's a matter of choosing where you're going to get your best impact. And in our case, a recruiter here is so expensive, and it's so difficult to retain them. There's so many opportunities here for recruiters, for good HR people, that was a logical choice. The fact that we were highly dependent upon that made it a slightly risky choice. But again, it's like anything else. When you hit the ball hard and right down the line, you may not get a home run, but you're going to hit a triple. And we managed to figure out how to do that. So it was very cost effective. It allowed us to have the attention and the time given to that function that we otherwise were having trouble getting. And it's turned out to be very, very, the outcomes can't be argued with. We're getting 4+ a week in the doors, on our staff, and that's effectively twice what we were doing prior.
I love that. What would you, I'm just going to, everybody knows that our folks are about $20,000 a year. That's the total cost. Robert, what would you have to pay for somebody physically in your office, in your market, if you had to replace Mark? So
really solid HR people and recruiting people cost $60,000 to $70,000 a year. If you really wanted A-level, you'd pay a little bit more than that. You're really not going to get anything less than 50. No one's even going to answer the ad and come talk to you if you're below 50 or 55. So, yeah, it's extremely cost effective for us.
So it's a 4x return on what you would be paying, and you're getting the exact same results you would expect if you were to hire local.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would not have expected it was going to be quite that successful. I thought, okay, it's going to be about half as much, and if I can get 70% of what I would have gotten otherwise, maybe that. But I'm getting 120% of what I got, or 150% of what I used to get, and it's less than half the cost of a really good recruiter.
And with that, we got to drop the mic. Okay, Robert, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time and sharing with your experience with MyOutDesk.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Daniel, and I'm glad I could help.
Hey, Daniel Ramsey here. Thank you so much for watching our show. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, push the little button below. It's a little round thing. It's red. It says subscribe, like, give us a comment. And before you go, make sure you follow us in order to get a free copy of our award-winning international best-selling book, How to Scale Your Business. I'm Daniel Ramsey. I really, really appreciate you following us, watching today, and being a part of the Mod family.